If you've ever played Far Cry Primal, you definitely remember Tensei. He's the local Wenja shaman who lives in a cave decorated with bones, speaks to spirits, and acts, well, completely unhinged. The very first time you meet him, he doesn't offer you a handshake. Instead, he forces you to drink a steaming, horrific concoction made out of blood and rare plants. The moment it hits Takar's lips, the world dissolves. He undergoes a massive psychedelic trip. He flies through the air, follows a glowing spirit owl through a burning forest, and suddenly gains the supernatural ability to tame apex predators just by staring at them. It makes for incredible gameplay. But it leaves us with a massive question. Is Tensei just a cool video game trope? Or did people like him actually exist 12,000 years ago? Did this actually happen? The short answer is yes. In fact, reality is far more fascinating and a lot more intense than anything Ubisoft put in the game. Today, we are diving into the real history of prehistoric shamans. We'll look at what Tensei's potion actually was, how ancient humans used psychedelics to fundamentally alter their consciousness, and how these mysterious figures might have literally invented human culture, art, and religion. Let's start with the trip itself. In the game, Tensei gives you the Vision Blend. What could this actually be? Far Cry Primal is set in Central Europe around 10,000 BCE, right at the end of the last ice age. While the game exaggerates the instant supernatural powers, the use of psychoactive plants during this era is a proven historical fact. Archaeology shows that prehistoric humans knew exactly which plants could alter the mind. If Tensei was a real shaman in Stone Age Europe, his recipe book likely included Amanita muscaria, the iconic red and white fly agaric mushroom. This mushroom has been used by Siberian shamans for thousands of years. It doesn't just cause hallucinations, it induces a state of delirium, feelings of immense physical strength, and a sensation of flying or leaving your physical body. Sound familiar? But there's another candidate. Prehistoric Europeans also had access to plants like henbane and deadly nightshade. These contain tropane alkaloids that cause intense, incredibly vivid hallucinations where the user completely loses track of what is real and what is a dream. When Takar drinks the potion and enters the spirit world, the game is accurately portraying a core shamanic belief, the ecstatic journey. Shamans didn't take these substances to party. They believed the physical body was a cage, and the plant medicine was a key that allowed their soul to detach, fly into the spirit realm, and negotiate with the spirits of nature for the survival of their tribe. But there's an even deeper layer to Tensei's vision that points directly to a real-world phenomenon. In the game, the moment you drink the fluid, you don't just see random shapes. You enter a very specific kind of trip. You are guided by a glowing spirit owl, you navigate a landscape of shifting neon energy, and you suddenly understand how to communicate with animals. If you speak to anyone who has ever undergone a traditional Amazonian ayahuasca ceremony, their jaws drop when they see this sequence, because the game perfectly replicates the structure of a real-world psychedelic vision quest. In the deep Amazon, shamans mix two entirely different plants together, the ayahuasca vine and chacruna leaves, to create a foul-tasting, dark brew. Just like Tensei's potion, it induces violent purging followed by intense, world-shifting hallucinations. And here is where it gets genuinely creepy. People from completely different cultures, who have never met, consistently report seeing the exact same archetypes during these ceremonies. They report meeting a mother spirit, flying over landscapes like a bird, and encountering giant jaguars or massive serpents that teach them secrets about nature. When Far Cry shows Takar taming a saber-toothed tiger or a cave bear after his trip, it's tapping into a core shamanic concept known as theriogony, the belief that during a trance, a human can merge their consciousness with an animal's spirit to gain its strength, its vision, or its stealth. To the ancient mind, the shaman didn't just look at a wolf, they became the wolf. So, where did these shamans actually exist? The answer is everywhere. Shamanism isn't a specific religion. It is the oldest spiritual and psychological practice known to humanity. Long before there were churches, mosques, temples, or written holy books, there was the shaman. We have found evidence of shamanic practices on every single inhabited continent. To find the real-life versions of Tensei, we have to look at the spectacular cave art found in places like Lascaux and Chauvet in France, dating back over 30,000 years. Deep inside these pitch-black underground caverns, ancient humans painted magnificent animals. But look closely, and you'll find something eerie. Therianthropes. These are drawings of creatures that are half human and half animal. Renowned archaeologists, like David Lewis Williams, have proposed a mind-blowing theory. These cave paintings weren't just prehistoric graffiti, they were the records of shamanic visions. Imagine walking for miles into a freezing, pitch-black cave, completely deprived of sensory input, holding a flickering torch, and starving or under the influence of a sacred plant. Your brain naturally begins to generate intense visual hallucinations. The shaman would see spirits emerging directly out of the cracks in the stone walls, and they painted them right where they saw them. Now, here is a question we often forget to ask. How on earth did they figure this out? Think about the sheer trial and error required. The natural world is filled with thousands of plants. Some will cure your headache, some will make you see God, and some will liquefy your kidneys within an hour. How did a Stone Age tribe figure out the exact dosage of a toxic root to induce a vision without killing the chief? If you ask modern indigenous shamans in the Amazon or Siberia how they discovered their medicine, their answer is always the same, and it completely defies modern science. They don't say trial and error. They say, the plants told us. In deep states of altered consciousness, shamans experienced what they felt was direct communication with the intelligence of nature. But if we look at it through a modern psychological lens, the truth is just as fascinating. Anthropologists believe shamans got their knowledge through incredibly rigorous, multi-generational observation. They watched animals. If they saw a sick bear dig up a specific root and get better, or a reindeer eat a specific mushroom and start running around frantically, the shaman noted it down in the tribe's oral history. Becoming a shaman wasn't a choice. It was often a terrifying calling. Usually, a young person was selected because they survived a near-death experience, a lightning strike, or suffered from severe illnesses that caused seizures or visions. To unlock the deep knowledge of the mind, they underwent brutal initiation techniques. They didn't just use drugs, they used extreme fasting for weeks, total sensory deprivation in isolated caves, rhythmic, hypnotic drumming for hours on end to alter their brainwave states, extreme heat or cold exposure. Through these trials, the shaman learned how to navigate the deepest, darkest corners of the human subconscious. In Far Cry Primal, Tensei is important, but he's treated a bit like a side character who helps the main warrior. In real history, the shaman was arguably the most important member of the entire community. They held roles that we split across completely different professions today. The shaman was the tribe's doctor, knowing every medicinal herb. They were the psychologist, healing the trauma of war or loss. They were the historian, keeping the oral myths alive. And they were the diplomat between humans and the terrifying, unpredictable forces of nature. Without the shaman, the tribe was blind. They provided a sense of meaning in a brutal world where a simple tooth infection or a bad winter could mean total extinction. They told the tribe why the rain fell, where the mammoths were moving, and what happened to their ancestors after they died. Some evolutionary psychologists even argue that shamanism is what triggered the cognitive revolution, the sudden explosion of human creativity, art, and abstract thought 40,000 years ago. By learning to step outside of everyday survival mode and explore the deep canvas of the human mind, shamans taught humanity how to imagine things that weren't right in front of them. They taught us how to dream. So, the next time you boot up Far Cry Primal and run through a psychedelic spirit forest with Tensei, don't just think of it as a wacky game mechanic. You are looking through a digital window into the ancient, mysterious roots of our very own sanity, consciousness, and survival. What do you think? Could you survive a Stone Age spirit quest? I don't think so, but definitely, I would. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and I want to know what kind of questions came to your mind throughout the episode. Good night, and stay tuned, because we are not stopping here.